And we are live. Super excited to be doing this today. Welcome, everybody. If you can hear me loud and clear on YouTube, let me know. Welcome, Coach Didi. Can you hear me? Your volume, you're muted.
Oh, yes, I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Hey, welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the Blooming Lotus 2024. We also have Chinwe in here. I'm just going to bring her on.
Okay.
It is such a pleasure to have you all join me today. Where is she? I'm sure she's trying to get in here.
Okay.
How are you feeling? How is the
Ah,
weather where you
my
are?
sister, the weather is hot. The economy is hot. So the hot just come join, but we push through.
Welcome, welcome. Hi, Chinwe. So great to have you here. Chinwe, you're muted. Welcome. Look at you.
Oh,
Beautiful you.
hi.
Hello,
Welcome
Chinwe.
to the Blooming Lotus. I'm so excited to have you ladies here. This is day one, and it's
Oh,
such a pleasure, to open up this week-long conversation, as I like to call it, with you beautiful leaders. In total, we will have 19 speakers over the next 5 days, each
Wow.
speaker coming in just to share, different perspectives on how we can actually come together, to prevent and end. And I mean, some might say, are we ever really going to be able to end it? But I think I like the word I used recently to make it less commonplace when women and girls are being, abused. So this is the Women with Stories. Our Center Stage company is proud to produce this. And I'm deeply honored to have you all here. Oh my goodness, we have the
hi,
uh,
Coach Didi.
Hello,
another
Chinwe.
powerful
How are
speaker
you?
Hi,
joining
I'm
us right
good. Are
now.
you?
I'm fine, thank you.
My
How's everything?
Good,
my
thank
mama
you.
herself. She's joining us about now. So Coach Didi, I just
Yeah,
want you to give us a minute so I can welcome
no problem.
our next speaker. She should be jumping in about now. So we can do all the greetings and just go straight to the conversations. There she is.
Hey, Coco
Hello,
Mommy,
Mel.
how are
Hello, how are
you?
you?
Power women. Power
Yeah,
women. Oh, what a privilege. What a privilege. I am so blessed. I mean, I didn't have to, climb through walls and break down barriers. It was just a simple message, just a simple message. And everyone just said yes. And it says a lot about, just how amazing you are, all of you on this call right now, of all the things you could be doing, but you've taken time out of your busy schedule to lend your voice to the 16 days of activism. So, for those who are joining us live on YouTube and wondering what is going on here, what is happening, so this event is proudly organized by the Women with Stories, where we are on a mission to empower women to find and, just discover their unique stories. We believe that whatever you've gone through that didn't kill you has given you a cure. And that cure is not just for you. That cure is for you to be able to be a blessing and a gift to our world. I'm excited to have Chinwe here today because she's going to be sharing a bit of her personal story of surviving intimate partner violence and how she's transformed her life and taken that pain and she's turned it into power. Because we're uniting. The theme for this year's event is Unite to Prevent Violence Against women and girls. So we decided to get everyone together. So on this first day, we will also be hearing from two phenomenal women. Now, they they're so loaded. I'm not even going to read profiles because that would take the entire hour.
Yeah.
It will take the entire hour. But Pastor Fanny Epikurede and Coach Didi will be sharing their perspective on basically the role of faith-based organizations because I feel everyone has a role to play. It's no longer just like let government do it, let the NGOs do it. Everyone has a role to play. I know Coach Didi comes from a very strong background of not just a woman of faith, but also as a mental health advocate. And I'm hoping she can just, chip in a little bit of that. Pastor Fanny, this is a global, global, earth shaking woman of God. And I am so proud to call her my spiritual mentor. And I know how her schedule is. I don't even know which part of the world she's at because she can be here today by morning. She's in another country. But thank you for coming. And Chinwe is joining us from London. So we have London, we have Abuja. Pastor Fanny, where are you right now? Which part of the globe? Where
I'm in
are you?
Delta State. I just landed from Abuja like 10 minutes back. I was just
10
landed,
minutes.
took
Oh
my
my
bath and
gosh.
sat down.
Oh
So
my
once
goodness.
I'm done, please, I will excuse myself so that I can breathe.
I absolutely understand. Coach Didi also has to run. Coach Didi, when do you have to go? So I need to know who
Uh,
can go
ba-
first.
Basically, I have to go in the next 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so Coach Didi, I'll have you go first. So we're talking about, so let me start by saying the Blooming Lotus. When we picked a theme for this event, it was special because I was reading a book by this amazing woman. I had to hold a copy of the book. I am Kamal. I met her in India in 2019. And in this book, like it's not for the faint-hearted. She shares her journey of surviving domestic, well, intimate partner abuse, violence in such a horrific way. And I remember in the book, she kept making a reference to the lotus flower. Now, I've heard of the lotus, but I'd never really looked into it. And so I went searching and I discovered the lotus is a flower that actually grows in mud. However, when it comes out, it
It
brings out
blooms.
the beautiful flower that we see on the surface, but it actually grows like it's inside mud. And I could just relate to how so many women who've gone through abuse, who are even still going through abuse, how it's so muddy, how it's so dirty, how it just feels like, is there a way out? But yet the lotus comes out of that mud and it's able to bloom. And so we were inspired to, theme this entire week, the blooming lotus, because we're trying to say to everyone out there, survivors and those who are even still victims, that you can still bloom. There is a way out. And so our experts are going to be sharing their perspectives. And whether you're watching us live or on the replay, it's important that you know that you have a responsibility. It's going to take all our collective efforts for us to end violence against women and girls. So, Coach Didi, you have the floor. Tell us, what can we do from a faith-based perspective? I mean, you're a Muslim woman, and I know even within the Muslim community, this is not something that is applauded. What do
Yeah.
you believe is the way out? How can we lend our voices? Please go ahead and share your thoughts.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Honestly, to be honest, I feel faith-based organizations, especially Muslim faith-based organizations, are not doing enough. And sadly, I think it's the role culture. Culture has a firm grip on our religious institutions and religious bodies. As a Muslim, I know Islam does not encourage physical or emotional violence in any way against a woman. But sadly, our culture, the African culture, actually promotes it. When a man hits his wife, he is not rebuked for it. In fact, she is blamed for it. What did you do to make him angry?
Hmm.
So these are things we are used to. In fact, we talk more about physical violence. We don't talk about emotional violence, which is even much more. There are women who have died from emotional, distress. in marriages. But because, of course, we don't have autopsies and then nobody talks about it, people get away with it. And I feel perhaps if there was this program we just had last week, it's called the One Ummah Peace and Unity Conference. It was actually developed by, I think, some group of faith-based Muslim organizations who came together and started this convention every year. And this year, funny enough, one of the themes was mental health. Women mental health, just mental health in general. And I was so pleased because this is the first time Islamic bodies are actually even talking about mental health. Because no matter how much I talk about mental health, it's erboko, which means all these educated people are coming with all this, their shakara, da 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 da. So some people will never listen. But when we have imams, clerics who are respected, because whether we like it or not, they influence society. When people like that come to talk about it using the Quran, it sings even better. And for the first time, this happened, and I was so glad. So what the truth is, the faith-based organizations, they shape the society and our behaviors. And people trust faith-based organizations. They are entities that we all trust. So because they don't talk much about, and I know, okay, let me not say I know, I am presuming most people who lead faith-based organizations are male. That's the truth. We have more ustaz clerics who are male. I think 90 or even 95% of clerics are male. It's a male-dominated entity. So perhaps that is why it is hard for them to go hard on men about gender-based violence. They speak, but it's as if, they pick and choose how to say it because they don't want to offend the men or something. I don't know. I'm just presuming here. Because I feel if it was the other way around, it was women doing the violence, perhaps they would even talk much more about it. So I think for me, there has to be more awareness. And it comes from, again, education. Most of the clerics I know, well, not most, many of the clerics are not even very, very well educated. The truth is, whether we like it or not, just having Islamic education without a broad perspective to even learn better and interpret it, it's not good enough. Yes, today we have modern, younger ustaz. We call them ustaz. These are clerics, whom you call like pastors, But the difference is perhaps we don't have a church. In Islam, the mosque is not a church. It's not a place that people come all the time. They meet and they talk. No, we just go there for prayer and leave. So the imam doesn't have much of a strong hold. So I think, that's one of the reasons why the imams and the clerics don't really we don't have counseling per se. Yes, it's changing now. Like there's this mosque in Wuse too. They do more of counseling now, and they even encourage premarital counseling and things like that. But this is still new to us. So I think deep down, what we really need is to create awareness that it's okay to talk about these things. There is so much stigma attached to it. A man is hardly rebuked. A man is hardly rebuked, and I stand corrected. Yes, they don't like it, but even when they rebuke him in private because they don't want to offend him. They don't want to make him feel little. They don't want to shame him in front of his wife. Why? He did something wrong. What is it that he cannot be rebuked and told, no, you shouldn't do this? We have women who are beaten blue black, and I think this cuts across religion and culture. And they're still sent back to their husbands. Why? Because they feel, no, it is still more prestigious, more honorable for you to be with a man. And this is the narrative that has been sent down to us that we've been listening to over and over again. And that's why there are women who are suffering in silence. See, Naomi, you don't understand it. As a mental health coach, if I begin to tell you this my ear, they can't see where they hear. But they can't say it out loud. They just come in, they cry. Men don't go to therapy. Our men don't go to therapy. So how do you even bring a change? So I think perhaps if we can have the faith-based organizations talk more about therapy. Therapy is not weakness. Encourage men to go into therapy because there are men who are not well in their heads, just like there are women who are not well in their heads. But unfortunately, men find it hard to admit that they are not doing well. And we don't have religious bodies who encourage them to understand that it is not weakness when you are not so well, you
to
have
get
the
help.
way, to get help. We don't have it. So perhaps really, I think the faith-based organizations can do much more. They can do really much more because they hold the lives of so many people. They greatly influence society. So I really do believe they can do much more. And one of the ways they can do that is maybe just like what you're doing now. You're creating awareness here. So perhaps somebody will listen to this and say, okay. And then, sorry, please, can I add something quickly?
Yes,
I started this program about 4 years ago. And when I realized that we kept on hammering on our daughters to be good girls, and we're leaving the boys
Mm.
to be bad boys. Bad boys
Mm.
become bad men. So when you raise a good
Mm.
daughter, she ends up marrying a bad man. What have we done? So perhaps changing the narrative is engaging men and boys to understand that it is not cool to hit a boy, to hit a girl. It is a
Mm.
shameful thing. If you are feeling
Mm.
so strong, go and fight your brother boy over there, or go get a bag and start punching. So perhaps
Mm.
we should do more to encourage, and this role is on us as parents and even schools to teach boys that violence is not cool. Because I can remember as a child, the kind of fight where I fight in second primary school. Oh my God. Because they felt they were better than us as girls, and they could just bully you, and you're supposed to take it because you're a girl. I mean, like, my head's strong. You don't take away my head strong. So you will not come and bully me because you think you are a boy. And so
Mm.
I was always fighting after school because I felt nobody can bully me simply because you're a boy. Now, it could
Mm.
have worked better if there were parents who were teaching their sons that it wasn't cool.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I was beating blue black. Yes, my
I
mouth will
hear
not keep
you.
quiet. But I was
I
really
hear
beating
you.
blue black.
I
So
hear
it
you.
also goes
And
out
it's
to parents.
amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing you're saying this because when we were putting this together, it was so key that we had every voice. So I think tomorrow or Wednesday, we're actually having the role of parents, the role of educators. We have a
absolutely.
parents coach. It's a whole mix because it's everybody.
Yeah,
It has to, we all have to say, look, in my own part, in my own place of authority, how am I effecting change? How am I lending my voice to
yeah,
this? Even as a neighbor, do I see someone being, battered blue and black every day and just feel like it's not my business, is their marriage? And then tomorrow, it's another thing that nobody wants to hear. I remember when I was reading I Am Kamal, even in the Indian culture. So this is not even like an African thing. Do you know at some point, as bad as it got, I'm talking about he would hang her, he would burn her. Her
oh,
beating was
wow.
just for the water came, maybe it wasn't cold enough, or the water for the tea was not hot enough. She didn't even need to speak. Her father told her, I will come for your body.
Oh my
This
God.
is what
Yeah,
this her father told her, I will come for your body. As just whatever it
stay
is
there.
will
Yeah,
come pick your body. This is what she went through for over 11 years.
yeah.
When I met her in India, when she first passed me, the first impression was surgery gone wrong because her face was not well together. I broke down on the last day when I got into the room to hear her speak. And when she talked about how many constructive surgeries she's
Oh my
done
God.
because of how, like, she, not today. We're here for advocacy. We're here for awareness. All I'm trying to say is it's real. People are going through so much, and we can't, for the life of us, turn a blind side and say, you know what, it's none of my business. And so I know you have to run. I thank you for your time. The
Can I
conversation
finish up
is
with
just
one thing? Let me
starting.
finish up with one
Yes,
thing, please,
please.
Naomi.
Yes, please.
Because and you see, the irony is, as Muslims, we have been raised to understand that as Muslims, we believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's our mentor, he's our guide, he's our role model. He has never hit anyone.
Hmm.
And it's part of the hadith that says, hadith, this is like the narration of the Prophet, how he lived his life. He said, the
Hmm.
best amongst you is the one who is kindest to his wife.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't hear our clerics repeating this on a daily basis, because perhaps if they were receiving it in their ear, they would receive sense. But the only one we hear every day is to remarry. That's sunnah. That is the strongest sunnah. That's the imitation. That is the role modeling they follow. That is the strength of it.
Oh, they will hear. They will hear this video. I promise you, they will hear. And I would often say, even if it's just one cleric, even if it's just one imam, the difference will begin. And over time, I believe we will get to that place where it's no longer commonplace. I think it's becoming so rampant, especially when you add the fact that people are dealing with so much stress. And some just feel, you know what, I just have one person at home that can become a punching bag for me to
Yeah.
punch this stress away. So thank you, Coach Didi. Thank you for taking time to share, the perspective as a Muslim woman, the role of faith-based organizations. We're coming back to you. I mean, sometime in the new year, we have to do a
No
repeat
problem.
of this because we
No
really
problem.
can't, have these conversations enough. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And
I
I
know
would
you
really
have
love you
to
to send
run.
me the link when it's done so that I can hear the pastor and Chinwe because I have to go and pray now. But please send it to me. I would
Absolutely.
love to
So we're
listen to them.
live on YouTube. We're live on
Okay.
YouTube. I'll share with you now. So as soon as you're done with your prayers, you can join us on YouTube. And so
Okay.
just a few comments. Someone said, really well said. Someone is also saying, absolutely correct. So people are joining from Abuja, from Ondo. We've got people all over joining us on YouTube. So I'll keep checking the comments and I'll share the link with you. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you
us.
so much.
I appreciate
Thank you.
you and I love you. Thank
I
you.
love you too,
Thank you
sis.
so
Bye.
much. Bye for now. All right. Pastor Fanny is going to come and share with us from the Christian faith perspective. Is the church doing enough, Pastor Fanny? Because some would argue if you go to the church, they will say submission, submission. A woman must submit to her husband. And of course, the Bible, God hates divorce. So what's the way out? What's the way out?
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pastor Fanny. I'm a pastor by God's people. I want to appreciate Dr. Naomi for the privilege to be able to do this. The first thing I want to say is that our own role model as Christians is the Lord Jesus Christ. And if you go to the Holy Writ, you will see that there are several things, scriptures that allude to the fact that the Lord does not support oppression. So when we're looking at, gender-based violence, it comes in different shades and sizes. You have emotional violence, you have rape cases, you have wife battery, and you have children, even being abused. I was on a platform a few days ago, and someone was saying that she got married and discovered that her husband was a cheat, and that is so bad that he's even, already laying hands on his 1-year-old child. So you have all levels of abuses that play out. And I believe that, for example, in Luke chapter 14, where Jesus Christ said, He has come to deliver the oppressed, that is our mission, to reach out to those people that find themselves in bondage. So violence is very, very real. Abuse is very, very real. And the African culture has not done a good work. Because growing up as young girls, one of the things we are told is to keep quiet. Cover your home, cover your family, don't expose them. Have you been warned, is it your matter? You should hear on the streets and all of that. So in trying to draw a clear line between when I should I love this word, between secrecy and privacy. What should be private and what should be secret. Like secret is you covering what you shouldn't cover, but there are some things that are personal to your family makeup that should be private. I think most times we put both together and we're not able to draw the line. So the church, I believe that the church has a long way, a lot to do with dealing with gender-based violence. But before I get to the church, we are told that charity begins at home. So the first church really is the family. Because if you go to scriptures, you will see that when the early church started, they weren't meeting in, should I say, event centers or organized church buildings as we have now. They started with meeting from house to house. I believe that if the family unit can be regarded as a church, what is a church? When Jesus said, where two or three are gathered together, I am there. If the husband is there, the wife is there, children are there, in the name of the Lord, it becomes a church. It is not the building that makes that in the church. So that should be our first church constituency where we should be able to dispense truth. So, like Coach Didi said, what are we telling our girls and what are we telling our boys? How are we training them? In fact, from an early age, they keep telling you, "Ah, learn how to cook so that nobody will come and tell you that I did not train my daughter well. And do this so that nobody will now." So all your life, you are you are you are being tailored towards living for a man. And then even when you are identified, you are either the sister of a brother, the missus of a husband, the mother of a child. It's like, your identity as a woman is as a person is lost in the discourse. So I think that the first church constituency is the family, and everybody should be involved. The Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 6, it is very clear. The role of the a father. In fact, from 5, it tells us, wives, this is what you should do. It tells us, it starts with submit yourself one to another. That's the first thing it says. People they don't want to see that. They just jump to wife submit. But it started with submit one to another. Then the next thing is man love. Then woman submit. Then children obey. That's the order. So both, I know I taught this somewhere and the men were like, I said, no, this is the word of God. It said submit one to another. That means that, both people should bring their perspective, put it on the table, bring it under the submission and tutelage of Christ, and get his perspective on whatever it is that we are doing. So that should be our first point of call. Then from there, you start carrying the child to church now, like Samuel taken to the temple. That baby is already dedicated. What are we teaching those children there? So that becomes your next unit. Of course, we have the educational system, but I don't want to go into that because I know you have that, for somebody to take. We have all of that. So the church should be a place. The Bible said God sets the solitary in families. The church should be a safe haven where somebody should run to and feel safe. We shouldn't be quick in throwing the baby, the bath water, and just out. Yes, because we don't want to create an image. There's a place for confrontation. The Bible says, speak the truth in love. So at times you have the clergy talking to the woman and saying, this is what you should do, but I cannot tell you openly because you understand. But there are times that these men need to be confronted. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, before we go to the men, some women love violence. They love, they don't know. They love toxic environment. They saw signs of this violence while they were dating, and they went headlong into that relationship. In fact, some people will tell you that, after the man finished beating me, that's when the love making is sweet. I don't know if you've heard those. Can we be a bit real? I've heard those kind of things. Then you also have another kind of violence that is sexual, where they tie them and use metals, and they tell you that it's part of the pleasure and all of that. You have another violence. People have not seen it as violence, but I remember one day a lady walked to me. She was walking, and I saw that, she was walking and her legs, she was walking this way, her legs were spread out, and she's someone I know. So I was like, babe, how far? She said, Pastor, I came to see you. Pastor, I don't know who to tell. My husband sleeps with me 5 times in the night. How many times a week? What do you call that? And so if she says no, you know what will happen. Then and this is within the context of marriage. There's a whole lot. Another one is if the man comes at her and then she becomes wet, he will say, I'm suspecting you. It turns to something else. That you are too quick in being wet. If she's
Lord
dry,
have mercy.
if she's dry, Why are you not responding? It's another problem. So yes, you have all kinds of things that are playing out. So I
Mm,
believe that there's a place for counseling. There's a place for a support system. When the disciples in Acts of Apostles were caught by the Sanhedrin Pharisees, they beat them. The Bible said they returned back to their company. The church should
mm,
have a support system for this kind of women where they know that whatever it is I tell you, nobody's going to hear it. So
mm,
it gives them the freedom to be able to pour their hearts. Now, in such places, apart from having a pastor or the pastor's wife, I believe that, trained counselors should be in such groups. I also
mm,
believe that lawyers, lawyers that are trained in family matters should be in those
mm,
kind of groups. Don't laugh.
mm.
Oh. I believe that police officers,
Yes,
law
yes,
enforcement agents should be in those
yes,
kind of groups. Then I also
yes.
believe that medical personnel should
Mm.
also be in this kind of group because some
This is really
people
good.
would be alive today if probably a doctor was there
Mm.
or a law enforcement agent was there to say that, see, this is violent and we're going to take it up legally and
That's right.
do something about
Mm.
this. But it should
That's
be
right.
done under the supervision of either the pastor or the pastor's wife or the senior person, like a deacon or somebody in
Within
the
the
church
church, yes.
that they hold in high honor. I believe if we have systems like that, it will go a long way. For the children church, if we have teachers that are observant,
Mm.
observe these children when they come. I taught with the government for 15 years. And there was a particular child that was very, very, in fact, two cases, one was very, very intelligent. All of a sudden, I noticed her grades were declining. I called her and I asked her what's up. And that's how she has become like my daughter, JS2. I had to go into the matter. Her father, her mother, it was a whole lot of issues, but we were able to resolve it. Another
Mm.
one, I saw her grades was declining. That one had to do with lesbianism. She had been initiated and it was affecting everything about her emotions and all of that. And I had to go
Mm.
into it. So at times, you're just being observant in the house or observant in church. This
Mm.
child is lively and all of a sudden he's speaking to himself. This
Mm.
person used to be quiet, but all of a sudden is very out there,
Mm.
like erratic in their behavior. You need to look and find out what is going on and then create a system where parents can be called in to counsel them and prayers. Some of these things we're talking about when somebody is cheating with cheating or should I use or he has access to all kinds of ladies out there. Then you now leave
Mm.
those ladies and it's your 1-year-old child. You are now uh, um whatever you're abusing.
Mm.
Nobody can tell me that it's normal. It is not normal.
Mm.
Such person is under demonic influence, needs deliverance, needs counseling, needs what do
Some
they
would say
call
to be locked up, to be
it?
locked up, taken far
Yeah,
away, and the key thrown into the ocean.
we need
It's
we need to
uh
just create an enabling environment. I think for me, that's what is strong in my mind. An
mm,
enabling environment for people to be able to speak out. And then when people have given you their secret, please, please, please know where to draw the line, know when you can say something without calling names and without, because that's one of the things
mm.
that make people not to talk.
Yes, the cancel
Look for,
culture where they
yes.
now become ostracized because
Yeah,
it seems
yeah.
as though what you said has ruffled some feathers. And you hear of cases where some people actually go to tell senior leadership, and maybe Mama herself is not also far from the abuse because
Yes.
there are cases where the senior man who should be an example is also abusing
Mm,
the wife, and in
yeah.
such cases mean, people are not likely going to get the solution they seek because it's almost
True.
as though what you're coming to look for me, I'm looking for a way out, and you're bringing it
Yes.
to me.
Mm.
And I believe that you've shared a lot of insights today. One, of course, the
I think
family being the first
stigmatization
church.
is
Mm.
strong to societal stigmatization. So one of the
Ah.
reasons why people don't speak out is there's this stigma that okay, if you speak, uh, if
Mm.
it's resolved, people already know your story. If it's not resolved and
Mm.
it ends in divorce, you know,
Mm.
everybody just looks at you and feels you cannot keep your home. You cannot keep your home. You
Mm.
cannot keep your home.
Mm.
And that's how some people
Mm.
they are keeping their home now in their grave. They tried to keep their
Mm.
home and they died and they went away. So that
Mm.
societal stigmatization, I think we really need to, talk about it. I feel
Mm.
like when we have seminars in church, women
Mm.
conferences, men conferences, these are things we
Mm.
should have breakout sessions or open
Yes.
sessions where some of these things
Yes.
can be brought to the table and call black and white. Tell them that it is wrong. Some people are not, it's not white battery, but the emotional abuse, like
Mm.
the man tortures them, tells they are no good, like some, I can't say some kind of things because we can, like, it can tell you openly, we tell you who wants to enter that place, like you are shapeless, like your breast is falling, and so you see everybody now doing body work, doing all kinds of things just
Mm.
to be able to, meet up with whatever,
Mm.
yes, there's a place of taking care of yourself and all of that, but then you've given birth to 4 children, you've given birth to how many children? Don't I remember one time I was my daughter said, Mommy, calm down. Oh, calming down. This exercise, the way you are doing it, please, oh, you know,
Be
so
calming down.
just be taking it gradually.
Mm.
So at times when you see a woman doing all of those excessive workouts are good, but excessive workouts, at times it is that somebody is taunting her. A
Mm.
low self-esteem have been built.
Mm.
Comparison comes.
Mm.
Maybe she's seeing the husband's colleague, maybe statements have been made and all
Mm.
kinds of things. So that's abuse on another level.
Another level. My
Yes.
God.
And there's even financial abuse.
Ooh. Mm.
It's part of this gender-based violence that we're talking about. Financial
Mm.
abuse you have where a woman is it comes in all shades. You don't even want to hear it. So let me do this quickly and wrap up. Some
Mm.
will tell you that my wife cannot earn more than me.
Mm.
She should resign from the job. That's one category. Another
Mm.
set is if you earn more than me, I'm still your head. Everything that comes, submit.
Submit.
So you
Mm.
have that. And so a lady told me, she said it was the first salary she told her husband because he insists to submit. So every time the salary comes, she gives to him. But from that time, there have been promotions and increase. So he is not aware. So
Oh
she
my
gives him
God.
the constant one. And because she needs this money and he can squander it and do anything he wants to do, he is the head of the home. Another one is they must have joint account. You just have all kinds of. Another one is the man is doing nothing.
Mm.
You go work, pay the bills. They, by the way, if I have not put you inside the house, will you be able to do that work? Would you get that job? So
Mm.
she's the one. He'll sit down and be pressing remote. She
Mm.
will put on the generator. That's in the context of Nigeria. Those abroad may not understand gen. Put on
Mm.
generator, pick the children from school, give them food, bathe them, wash them, sweep, carry his leg up, so, like my Lord and King, my master, my everything.
Mm.
Instead of all of those stress, she will get the money, she will cook, she will serve him, and no,
Mm.
you don't even want to hear. So let's not just
Mm.
look at words. Let's not just look at sex. Let's not just look at battery. There's financial abuse that
Mm,
comes to
mm,
and I think that the church has a major role to play. Whether they are doing
wow.
enough, I don't know. I can't generalize. There are
Mm,
some churches that have, hubs that cater for some of this, but there are other churches that don't have. I believe that as
mm,
we begin to speak out and lend our voice, create safe
mm,
havens, companies, and at times just have what some of these people need at times is just somewhere to just go out. Just let's go out. Let's just not don't even talk about it. Go
mm.
swimming, eat, dance, laugh, just create that environment of rest and refreshing. I believe it will go a long way. God bless you. I
Wow.
hope I've helped.
My goodness, I'm just checking YouTube, comments everywhere. Thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, just everything, like my notes are full, but you started, like you opened this conversation by saying family is the first church. And I know we have parents on the call, we have mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandparents. It's all our collective responsibility. Everyone must be involved. Of course, breaking down how submission starts with one to another before it gets to the woman being submissive. There is submit one to another. Men, love your wives, and then women submit and children obey. So there's an order, and we can't take one out and leave the other and make it look
Mhm.
as though, the Bible
Mhm.
only favors one sex. You
Mhm.
also talked about, the role of the church being a safe haven. And I know many would also, because there's a comment on YouTube about someone who said a case was being, a victim went to a pastor and on the altar, he raped her. And when he was confronted, he said it was the devil. So sometimes people are running to a place
Mhm.
where it should be safe, and then they meet more abuse. Indeed, we
Mhm.
can't even unpack this conversation in one call like this, and I'm hoping we have time again to come back. But I know you're doing great work, spreading the gospel all across the globe, and impacting so many women like me, and teaching us how to go forth and also be the change in our own spaces, in our own communities. And so I thank you. I thank you so much for doing this. You traveled, landed, and showed up live in minutes. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
I love
Chinwe,
you.
I'm looking forward to hearing you. I would mute my face, but I'm listening.
Okay,
Okay,
that's fine. Thank you
fantastic.
for sharing.
All right. Thank you, Mama. Thank you
All
so
right, yeah.
much.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, ma'am. So, Chinwe, my darling Chinwe. Welcome, welcome. We have about 12 minutes, and in that 12 minutes, you are one person who experienced intimate partner violence, and you took that pain and you've turned it into power, a true definition of what it means to be a blooming lotus. In 12 minutes, Chinwe, take us on your journey. I know you can do this. What happened? What you saw and ignored, and the consequences of that, because sometimes, I mean, we can address this and talk to women who are currently in it, but I believe your story is a message for women who are yet to be involved in relationships, because the red flags can be there and you can choose to ignore. However, there are so many lessons from your journey, and I just want you to, you know, just talk to us.
Okay, so good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Naomi, for the opportunity to talk about, something personal to me and a subject I'm actually passionate about. I like talking about, and I feel that we need to have more conversations, okay? And I'm happy we are beginning to have some of these conversations. So because we don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to go to, your questions and everything. So what really happened? That's actually really deep, So I would actually think I would actually go back because it's been years now, right? So I had just finished my first degree and I was really excited. And I was looking forward to all this, amazing life, going to, further my study and stuff like that. And out of the blue, I just started having suitors, right? And for me, I just, pushed it to one side. But it's just about what we're talking about, here, societal expectations. And when this got out, I had so many people telling me, oh, as a woman, there is a specific time. Now you're having a lot of suitors. You need to pick somebody, all right? Because you're going to get to a certain point in your life where you're not going to have, all these people, coming to ask for your hand in marriage. And for me, being a young girl who just finished school, and I felt that, all these things I was hearing from aunties and all of that, probably they're saying it from experience. Probably they know what they're saying and all of that because they've actually, gone through that journey. Probably they knew what they were saying. And for me, out of all the suitors, I actually, said yes to one of the suitors. All right. And the reason why I even said yes as well was because in some of the conversations I've had previously with my mom, she's also giving me a definition of the kind of son-in-law they would want. Somebody from my place, from my community, someone that
Wow.
is a Catholic because I'm Catholic, and things like that. So these things shaped my choice, right? Because I was like, I wanted to also, choose someone that my parents would be happy about, right? It wasn't really about me, but it was really about, okay, does this person meet, the standard of my family, and things like that. And I made that choice. Now, even how I met this person, the circumstances were even, really, really right and everything. But let's just go down to, when we got to know each other and everything. So when we started dating, immediately I met him, he just started talking about marriage, right? And I was like, okay, can we actually give ourselves some time, to actually get to know each other better? Right? But he didn't even hear that. He just wanted marriage. He just wanted marriage. He just wanted marriage. He just wanted marriage. And just to go back a little bit, I also wanted to add something in terms of societal expectation. Who even told us there is a specific age that a woman needs to get married? Like, where did we even get that from? I know, yes, science, medicine says a lot of things, your fertility age and things
Your
like that. But
eggs.
these things,
Your eggs.
exactly, so, but these things add a lot of pressure to young women, and sometimes they even make them make wrong choices. So I think this
Right.
is also something we really need to look into, okay?
Yes.
So just fast forward to when we started dating and all that, right? So when we started dating, because it didn't take long, he actually did an introduction, right? So he introduced himself to my family. And when we started dating, I started noticing certain things I felt that were not right, right? I
So you
noticed he was very
noticed.
controlling. Yes, I noticed he was very controlling. In fact, one of the days I actually, went to visit him and we went out just because I was pinging with my BlackBerry. He just parked on the road and smashed my phone. Like I literally didn't even see that coming. He took away my phone and and smashed it,
That's
right?
it.
And that was really honestly smashed my phone. And that was really a shock to me because it's something I haven't really experienced, right? But at this point, I didn't really know what to do because we've done the introduction. We've already
Oh.
started talking about the marriage. Family were aware. And, family were aware at this point, that we're actually going to, get married and everything. He chose people I spoke to, right? So even as I just finished first degree, because I'm someone that, I'm always, I really want to study, learn and all that. So I mentioned to him that I wanted to go for another certification, right? And he told me, no, I think the degree you have is enough right now. You don't need to go for any other degree, right? This was what
Okay.
he said. And I was like, oh, yeah, honestly. And I was like, but why I really wanted to get this extra certification is just because I feel that if I get this certification, I would earn more, right? And he said, I don't need a wife that would earn more. So it's just like what Pastor Fanny said. Even if my
Right.
wife actually does like, a 9 to 5 job and he gets paid 10,000 naira in a month, I think that's fine. You can imagine. So 10,000 naira now should even be less than £5 or so if you're actually in the UK. So, this was actually, the things he said. I noticed that he even started separating me, from family, and things like that.
That seems
But
to
at
be a
this point,
strategy, where they start disconnecting you so that you don't even have a support system around you, should you even want to cry out. It's a strategy. So for anyone who is watching and you're in a relationship and at this moment you're yet to tie the knot and none of your friends are good enough. Your family is no longer okay. Your family is jealous of you. They don't want you to marry him. This is a sign that you want to check and check again. Seek counselors. Take time away and really ask yourself, do I want to go into this? Especially when you know deep down, because I'm sure Chingwe, deep down, you knew something ain't right here. But like you said, family was involved, introduction had happened. They had already told you biological clock is ticking. Now, take us to where this whole thing collapsed because I know the story. You went ahead, you did the marriage, and within how many months was it over?
So basically, actually, so after the wedding, the traditional wedding, you can even imagine, we're not even talking to the wedding day. So after the wedding, it actually collapsed in 3 months after the traditional wedding, right?
3 months.
Honestly, 3 months after the traditional wedding. And all these things, like for me, sometimes people feel like, intimate partner violence or domestic abuse is about, physical violence and all of that. No, they're just different forms. You even have the emotional abuse and everything. So when it actually ended in 3 months, okay, and that was, it was a very difficult point in my life. Honestly, you wouldn't even, you can't even imagine how I felt. So you can imagine if you're Igbo on this call, you can imagine a first daughter from an Igbo community, from actually a reserved family, and you're just coming out, saying like, okay, this marriage has ended. You can imagine, the kind of response I got and all of that. I felt like a failure, Naomi. I was ashamed of myself. In fact, I even started hiding myself. I wasn't even mixing up with people, and all of that. But because this is marriage, before you knew it, the rumor has already, spread across, the community, family, and all of that, right? But I think, one of the things I also wanted to mention here as well is that, as much as we're talking about, violence against women and girls today, I also think that women, we have a lot of role, to play in terms of supporting survivors. All right. So, what I also noticed was when this marriage ended, the majority of people who came at me were women.
Were women.
They were women, both, close family, extended family, friends, they were women. Nobody even talked about what happened. Nobody even wanted to hear what did he even do. Everybody, they all came up with their own stories, of, oh, she couldn't keep her home. She doesn't know how to cook. She did this, she did that, like even sometimes people even find it difficult to even, greet me or say hi to me when I go to the village, and things like that. It was a horrible experience, Naomi. Honestly, it's almost like, you were just really existing. Nobody really cared about you, and all of that. And in terms of the marriage ending, that was a very difficult decision. Honestly, if you've ever been through a broken marriage, you'll know that it's one of the hardest things to ever experience, and and all of that, right? I went through so much, honestly. In fact, now we're talking about, violence and stuff. He even actually stopped me from using the internet. There were just so much that I can't even start, talking about here. Honestly, yes. But honestly, so what happened was, when he actually smashed my phone, he got me a Nokia phone, right? No Android, nothing. And I met him.
The
The
3310.
touchlight,
The
the
touchlight.
small one, exactly. And I met him.
Matched your BlackBerry.
I had a
Gave
BlackBerry
you
when
a
I met
touchlight.
him, touch it and everything. So honestly, that experience, it wasn't really, really, really easy for me, and and all of that, right? The shame was excruciating. Honestly, like even you could imagine even people very close to you, gossiping about you. There were just, so many rumors and and all of that, right? So, but one
Chinwe,
thing,
yeah. So before you go on, I want you to, I mean, like we can stay here, and I'm glad you're sharing this because there's so many people watching live and many more that will watch the replay. For me, it's so powerful when people get to share their experiences. Many will say experience is the best teacher. To be fair, I believe other people's experience should be the better teacher. Don't wait to say, no, that's Chinwe, she wasn't lucky. Even though you know that every example she's given is your reality right now. You're probably saying to yourself, Chinwe wasn't lucky. No, my own really cares about me. That's why he's doing all of this. Auntie, guess again. You might just be getting into a trap. Take us to where you are today, because I know you came out, you went through all of that. You've been able to take that pain and you've turned it into purpose. Tell us a little bit about the work you're doing again. I'm sensing we have to bring you back before we're done. We need to have your story told again. So I will circle back. We need to bring you back. We have a day where we're going to hear from survivors and women who have taken all of that pain and they've converted it into power, now helping other women. So just tell us a little bit about where you are today, and then we're going to bring you back again because we need to hear the story. I don't think we've heard enough of your story. So tell us about where you are today. Tell us about the work you're doing and how this whole experience inspired the work you're doing today.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Naomi. So basically, where I am now, right? So basically, when I really look back, honestly, all I actually see is strength. I really don't even, think about that journey. Whenever I have a conversation, with people about this experience, I always say, I'm grateful to God, honestly, that I had that experience, because that experience was the very first shock I literally had. Because growing up, I was really, really protected by my parents. So where am I now? So basically, through the guidance of a mentor, and also, drawing strength from the Word of God, because I'm a Christian, right? And I also had picked up an anchor scripture when this all happened, and that's Genesis 50, verse 20, which actually said it was intended to harm you, but God allowed it for your own good. Okay, so where am I today? So where am I today is the fact that I'm all over this, right? And I've come out at the other side, and I'm now sharing my story because I believe that there are still women who are actually still going through, intimate partner violence, or who are even out of it, but they still feel like, the world has actually come to an end, right? I feel the world hasn't come to an end, okay? So what I did with my journey and my story is that I feel that there are still women who are struggling. So I decided to start an initiative called the Survival Hub, right? The Survival Hub is actually a non-profit organization registered in Nigeria, supporting intimate partner violence survivors to seek help, heal, and rebuild their lives, right? So basically, I feel that whatever we've gone through in life, okay, has given us the cure, like Dr. Naomi said, right? And as we move on with our lives, we need to also look back and check if there are also people who are still behind, who are struggling with the same thing, right? That we struggled with, and look for how to actually lend them, a helping hand. Yeah. So that's right. Yeah.
Wow. Chinwe, I am so proud of you, and you know this. It's profound to see what you went through and how you didn't allow that whole experience, keep you on the ground. You have started this initiative and you've done a lot. I mean, when we bring you back on Wednesday, I know a lot of the stories of women that you've worked with, and where they are today. We will allow you pick up from there when we bring you back again during the week to share some of these experiences, because when we talk about things like this, it just almost feels like, is it really true? She's just saying one part, she probably didn't say how, she was the problem. Like you rightly said,
Yeah.
the people that judged you the most were women. The women that you feel should have empathy towards you were the ones judging you, were the ones, shaming you and blackmailing you and, coming up with their own versions of what they didn't even know happened. And so we must be careful, even as we wrap up tonight. This conversation is only just getting started. For those of you who are just coming in, please share this link, put it up on your status, share it. We want to keep it within the hour every day so that no one actually gets tired. Like by the time it's an hour, you're like, is it over? I want more. And so you come back for day two. All through this week, we're going to have in total 19 speakers, each one coming with different perspectives. And so we're going to draw the curtains here tonight. I really want to thank all my speakers. We started with Coach Didi. If you missed her session, she shared the Muslim perspective as it concerns the role of faith-based organizations. Then we had my pastor, Pastor Fanny, share that of the Christians, the Christian faith. And of course, we had Chinwe share her personal journey and how she's taken all of that now and she's turned it into a gift that she's serving the world with. I'm checking YouTube. Someone says her story is inspiring. In a situation where a friend to the family abused a young woman. So this is a question and got her pregnant instead of the lady's family to fight. They're pushing her to get married to him. What should the lady do? So questions are already coming up on YouTube. I'm going to say this. We're going to continue the conversation on Instagram at the Women with Stories. So if you're watching on YouTube, please go to Instagram at the Women with Stories and share your questions in the DM. I'm going to try and drop the link here and I will ensure that I pin it so anyone watching can find us on Instagram. Send in your questions. Chinwe will be there to respond. Pastor Fanny, Coach Didi, and join us tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. West African time. I'm sure tomorrow we might stretch a bit. The conversation gets more interesting by the day. And we're hearing everyone's perspective, the role of the law, parents, educators, even men. I believe we're having the men tomorrow, the role of the men as allies, because we need the men. We need the men to talk to the men. We need everyone lending their voice to this. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. Yes, they're sending you so much hugs from YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. I see you all. Thank you for joining us. Again, share this, share this, share this. Over the next 16 days, different organizations around the world are lending their voice to uniting to end violence against women. You may not be here to speak, but the fact that you've watched, one of the ways you can unite with us is to spread the word. Spread the word. Same time tomorrow, we'll be right here to get more perspectives as we journey together in ending violence against women and girls. Thank you to all my speakers tonight. Thank you,
Dr.
Coach
Naomi,
Chinwe.
I just wanted to say something before we go. Okay. So just one of the things I just wanted to leave with everyone before we go. So just because I'm
Yes, please.
passionate about, intimate partners, violence and everything, right? So for all the women on this call, one of the things I'll leave you with is empowerment is very, very important. Okay. Because when you're empowered, you have a power, you actually have the right to choice. So even if when people talk about, yes, even empowered women get abused and all of that, yes, I agree. But to some certain level, when you're actually empowered, you can actually make a choice, right? And we don't really have a lot of time, right? I would have actually shared, some stories of some, women I've actually worked with in terms of that, but it is important, all right? You don't have to have so much, but even if is, whether it's a business or you're working, no matter how much you're being paid, but being empowered is very, very important. It gives you the right to choice.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because one of the days we have the role of financial empowerment. Like we left nothing out, and we're bringing two financial experts. One of them is actually watching us right now on YouTube, and they will be sharing how women can begin to empower themselves. You are so correct. A woman that is empowered will really have the power of choice should she need to walk away from a situation that is not healthy and that is not safe. Once again, thank you so much for sharing. We're bringing you back again. So save all those stories. We're going to drill them out of you. Thank you so much, Chinwe. Thank you to everyone watching live. And if you were watching this on the replay and you got this far, you are the real MVP. Goodbye for now, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you.